Have you ever looked at a map of the United States and wondered how it got so big? How a handful of colonies on the East Coast grew into a massive nation stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific? The answer isn't just about battles and treaties. It's also about an idea, a powerful and controversial idea called manifest destiny. And today, we're going to unpack what it was, how it shaped America, and the complicated legacy it left behind. So what exactly was manifest destiny? The term was first coined in 1845 by a journalist named John O'Sullivan. He wrote that it was America's manifest destiny to overspread the continent allotted by Providence for the free development of our yearly multiplying millions. Let's break that down. Manifest means obvious or clear. Destiny means a future that's bound to happen. And Providence? That's a religious way of saying God. So in a nutshell, manifest destiny was the belief that the United States was divinely ordained to expand its borders, its democracy, and its way of life across the entire North American continent. This wasn't just some random thought. It was a powerful mix of American nationalism, a sense of racial and cultural superiority, and a belief in the country's special mission. People saw the vast, open lands to the west not as someone else's home, but as an empty wilderness waiting to be tamed and civilized by American pioneers. They believed their form of government and their society were the best in the world, and that it was their duty, even their right, to spread it. It was an idea that captured the imagination of the nation and fueled a massive westward expansion. But the story of manifest destiny didn't start in 1845. The seeds were planted much earlier. Think back to the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. President Thomas Jefferson doubled the size of the country overnight, buying a huge swath of land from France. He sent Lewis and Clark on their famous expedition to explore this new territory, charting a path for future settlers. This was the first giant leap west, and it opened the floodgates. Then came the era of good feelings after the War of 1812. The country was bursting with national pride and a sense of unique identity. People were optimistic. The economy was growing and the population was booming. For many Americans, staying put on the East Coast just wasn't an option. The West beckoned with the promise of cheap land, new opportunities, and the chance to build a better life. This created a powerful momentum, a human tide flowing westward. Let's talk about the trails, the legendary paths that carried hundreds of thousands of people into this new frontier. The Oregon Trail is probably the most famous. It was a brutal 2,000-mile journey that took months to complete. Families packed everything they owned into covered wagons and faced incredible hardships. Disease, accidents, harsh weather, and the sheer exhaustion of the journey. They were driven by Oregon fever, the dream of fertile farmland and a new beginning in the Pacific Northwest. At the same time, another major chapter of manifest destiny was unfolding in the Southwest, and it involved Texas. Originally a part of Mexico, Texas saw a huge influx of American settlers, led by figures like Stephen F. Austin. Tensions quickly grew between the American settlers, who brought their own culture and the institution of slavery, and the Mexican government, which had outlawed slavery. This led to the Texas Revolution in 1836. With iconic battles like the Alamo, Texas won its independence and became its own country, the Republic of Texas, for nearly a decade. But many in both Texas and the U.S. wanted more. They wanted annexation. This became a huge issue in the 1844 presidential election. James K. Polk, a firm believer in manifest destiny, ran on a platform of expansion. He promised to annex Texas and also take control of the Oregon Territory from Britain. His victory was seen as a mandate from the people to expand. In 1845, the United States officially annexed Texas, setting the stage for a direct conflict with its southern neighbor. The annexation of Texas was the final straw for Mexico. They considered it an act of aggression, a theft of their rightful territory. Border disputes erupted, and President Polk, eager to acquire even more land, sent troops to the contested region. This led to a clash, and in 1846, the Mexican-American War began. The war lasted for 2 years and was largely a one-sided conflict. The U.S. military was better equipped and organized, winning a series of victories and even capturing Mexico City. The war ended in 1848 with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. The terms of this treaty were a massive victory for American expansionism. Mexico was forced to cede over half of its territory to the United States. This vast area included present-day California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Colorado and Wyoming. With this one treaty, the vision of a coast-to-coast nation was nearly complete. Just as the ink was drying on the treaty, something incredible happened. Gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill in California. The news spread like wildfire, triggering the California Gold Rush of 1849. Hundreds of thousands of 49ers from all over the world flocked to California, hoping to strike it rich. This massive migration rapidly populated the new territory, accelerating its path to statehood and solidifying American control over the Pacific coast. So the dream was realized. The United States now stretched from sea to shining sea. Manifest destiny seemed to have succeeded. But this success came at a tremendous cost, and it's here that we have to confront the dark side of this story. The continent wasn't empty. It was home to hundreds of distinct Native American nations with their own cultures, societies, and histories. For them, Manifest Destiny was not a story of progress and opportunity. It was a story of invasion, displacement, and devastation. The westward expansion of settlers led to constant conflict. The U.S. government pursued a policy of Indian removal, forcing tribes from their ancestral lands onto reservations. Treaties were made and routinely broken. The bison, a crucial resource for many plains tribes, were hunted to near extinction, partly to clear the way for railroads and settlements. This was a cultural and literal genocide. The Trail of Tears, where the Cherokee and other tribes were forcibly marched from their southeastern homes, is just one tragic example of the human cost of this expansion. The legacy for Mexican Americans was also complex. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo promised that Mexicans living in the newly acquired territories could become U.S. citizens and have their property rights respected. However, in practice, many lost their lands through legal trickery and discrimination. They often found themselves treated as second-class citizens in the very lands their families had lived on for generations. And we can't forget the role of slavery. The question of whether these new territories would be free or slave states became the single most divisive issue in the country. The acquisition of new land from Mexico dramatically intensified the debate, pushing the North and South further apart. Every new state admitted to the Union threatened the delicate balance of power. This tension, fueled by westward expansion, was a direct path to the Civil War, the bloodiest conflict in American history. So how should we remember Manifest Destiny? It's complicated. On one hand, it's a story of incredible ambition, courage, and the pioneering spirit that helped define the American character. It created the continental nation we know today and spread ideas of democracy and individual liberty. On the other hand, it was a justification for aggressive expansion, conquest, and racial prejudice. It led to the dispossession and suffering of Native Americans and the marginalization of Mexican Americans. It poured fuel on the fire of the slavery debate, leading to civil war. Understanding Manifest Destiny means holding both of these truths at the same time. It's a core part of the American story, a powerful reminder that progress for some can mean tragedy for others. It shaped the nation's geography, its identity, and its deepest conflicts. By studying it, we can better understand the complex and often contradictory forces that have shaped the United States. What do you think? Was Manifest Destiny a noble quest or a destructive conquest? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video informative, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you next time.